They slid the oxygen clip off my finger and told me to breathe slow. I reached for the plastic pouch with my phone. 2 messages waited like bad weather. From a Dane County clerk probate hearing moved up. Updated will filed 10 days ago. From Paula next door, Maggie Jason's on your porch. Told movers you won't be coming home. I don't like this. Jason Mercer, my son-in-law, 32, smooth haircut, sales smile. Rob, my husband, 6 weeks gone. Our will signed 2 years ago at the kitchen table. Left me the house, a life estate for our daughter Sarah, a bequest to St. Raphael's and Rob's fishing boat to our grandson. That was simple. This wasn't. I need a phone, I told the nurse. I called Anita Delgado Probate. Anita, it's Maggie Ellis. There's a new will filed while I was under. You upright. Upright enough. Then 3 things she said. 1, I file an immediate pause. Nothing moves until a judge looks at it. 2, I need proof of where you were the day of that update. EHR timeline visitor logs. 3, we find the notary who stamped it. Clean paper doesn't mind daylight. File the pause. Already drafting. Text me anything you find. They wheeled me out. Paula idled at the curb in her Corolla and fussed my seatbelt. You look pale. I'm mad. Mad reads pale. At home, our little ranch off Cottage Grove Road, the air smelled like lemon cleaner and old coffee. Rob's Packers mug sat on the entry table where he used to drop his wallet. I set the pharmacy bag down and pulled a yellow legal pad. Who benefits? Who signed? Who was there? Sit, Paula said, which meant don't you dare fall while I make tea. I opened the Ring app and scrubbed back to last Tuesday. There he was, Jason, at 2:14 p.m. leather folio, tucked like a prop talking to my doorbell. Another man followed with a black shoulder bag that said notary in tiny letters. They stepped into my foyer like they owned it. I froze the frame and took a still. The timestamp glowed. I texted it to Anita with 5 words I was intubated at 2:14. The phone rang. Monona Bank said a crisp woman. Mrs. Whitaker here. Ms. Ellis, your neighbor, gave me your number. A gentleman named Jason stopped in, saying he's executor under an updated will. Wanted wire authorization. I told him I'd need to see you. Please don't move a dime, I said. My lawyer's filing a pause. I'll note the file. After I hung up, I breathed the way the therapist taught me, long, slow, until the tug in my belly quieted. The house made its winter sounds. Anger steadied my hands better than coffee. Sarah called. Hey, Mom, how's the pain? Bad enough to keep me honest. Jason says Dad wanted to simplify things. Your father wanted simple, yes. He wanted me to stay in this house. He wanted the pantry at St. Raphael's to keep handing out peanut butter. He wanted Tommy to lie about fish on Lake Monona. Silence, bright kitchen kind. Jason said you called and... I didn't. I kept my voice even. I won't make you pick sides on the phone. I'll text you a copy of what your father and I signed. Read it. Then come by if you want. I'll be here, me and this couch. Okay, she said small. I'll look. Paula set tea and toast in front of me. He's counting on you being tired, she said. Then we make him tired first. I called UW Health Medical Records. Maggie Ellis, date of birth. I need the electronic record for last Tuesday. Times of intubation, recovery, and who had access. Yes, the spreadsheet. My attorney will follow up. Next, the UPS store on O'Donnell Road. Hi, I told the manager I'm trying to confirm a mobile notary appointment at my address last Tuesday. I can check the notary journal number, he said. Give me a moment. While he checked, I looked at the dining room wall. The sunflower painting Rob bought me last summer, still wrapped in painter's plastic after we repainted. On the ring, still behind Jason, that painting hung neat and bare. Too neat. Too soon. I took a picture of the plastic wrap with that day's newspaper in the frame for date. Anita texted pause filed. Clerk acknowledged. If a title company or buyer's agent calls, give them my number. An unknown number lit up my screen. I answered. Ms. Ellis calling to confirm last week's mobile notarization for your records. We just need the signer's ID numbers and a quick voice confirmation. I was in a coma last week, I said. Paper rustled. I'm sorry. If you have a journal entry that says otherwise, keep it safe. My attorney will ask for it. Also, write down the name of the man who did most of the talking in my living room. Silence. Ma'am, we'll review. Good. I hung up and pressed the warm mug to my belly like a heating pad. The house looked the way houses do when someone leaves them. Nothing dramatic, just too many small places where their hands used to be. I flipped the legal pad to a clean page and wrote in big block letters the way I used to on school forms, "Don't get tired." Under it, I made a checklist Anita Pause filed. EHR plus visitor logs requested. Ring stills saved and sent. UPS notary journal number pending. Bank Mrs. Whitaker alerted. Sarah Real will texted. Outside light thinned toward late afternoon. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Got the will. Can I come by tomorrow? Jason's not thrilled. Doors open, I typed back. Paula refreshed the tea. What now? She asked. Now I said we keep our receipts. Part 2. Paper trails and a ticking clock. By morning, the pain had settled into a steady burn, the kind that makes you negotiate with your own body stares for coffee, then couch for emails. Paula showed up with a high-V rotisserie chicken and the bossy look she saves for me. You're not lifting, she said, handing me a pill and a glass of water. You point. I lift. I can point, I said, and dial. I started with UW Health medical records. Yes, this is Margaret Ellis. I requested the EHR timeline yesterday, intubation recovery, and the visitor log for last Tuesday. My attorney's Anita Delgado. If you can email the audit trail, that'd be ideal. The clerk promised to escalate. I thanked her the way my mother taught me twice with her name. Paula fussed with curtains. You need light. Light makes paperwork tell the truth. On the coffee table, I spread my yellow pad, the printed picture of our sunflowers still wrapped in plastic, and the ring camera still of Jason at 2:14 p.m. ushering the notary through my door. I drew a line between the two photos like a teacher diagramming a sentence. Too neat, I said. Too soon. We drove to the UPS store on O'Donnell Road after I put on real shoes and a coat. The air outside bit clean and cold, and my steps felt too big for my healing belly. Inside, printers hummed while a college kid taped boxes for winter break. The manager had a name tag that read Ben. He looked at my printout with the still frame and nodded carefully. We don't keep copies of documents, he said, but mobile notaries log entries. I can contact the notary and request the journal number and the line item for Tuesday. I appreciate that, I said. Someone called yesterday asking to confirm my signature. I was under anesthesia. Ben's eyebrows went up. Let me take your number. He took a picture of the ring, still on his store phone. If this is the notary, I think it is his name's Kyle. He's independent, but we refer him sometimes. Write that down, Paula said like a stage whisper. Kyle, independent. Back at home, my email pinged with a note from Monona Bank. Mrs. Whitaker had logged a customer contact disputed authority, hold pending. I called her anyway. Thank you, I said. If Mr. Mercer returns, please tell him the estate is paused by court motion. I'll be happy to do that, she said, crisp and calm. And for what it's worth, Ms. Ellis, the way he rushed, it did not read as grief. After lunch, Anita called. The clerk stamped our emergency motion, she said. That means distributions are frozen until a judge reviews the challenge. It doesn't stop a shady sale if a title company misses the memo, so we'll notify them directly. Which title company? I don't know yet. If he's moving fast, a realtor's in the mix. I put her on speaker and scrolled the neighborhood Facebook group. It took 3 posts a photo of my front porch with a realtor's sandwich board I'd never seen. The caption read, Open House Saturday 1:04 p.m. My name was nowhere. Jason's last name was. I took a screenshot and texted it to Anita and Paula. Found it, I said into the phone. Saturday. That's 2 days. Good, Anita said. Bad for your blood pressure, good for urgency. I'm calling the brokerage and the title company. We'll get a cloud on the title, a big public sticky note that says, dispute pending. And Maggie, I need you to contact your cell carrier and request call metadata. There's an audio file in his packet, a voicemail that sounds like you authorizing changes. That's not me. I know, but judges like paper. Paper beats feelings. I dialed Verizon, and after 2 robots and a polite young man who called me ma'am 3 times, I requested a log for last Tuesday, inbound and outbound, plus any voicemail transcription times. He promised an email within 24 hours, another piece of paper. By late afternoon, I was tired down to my bones. I closed my eyes and listened to the house settle. The refrigerator thunked like a heartbeat. Through the window, the maple in the front yard held on to 3 stubborn leaves. They rattled like a cheap secret. The doorbell rang. It was Sarah, Cheek's chapped hair twisted into a scarf. She stood on the mat like a girl again, not a wife trying to hold a marriage together. I brought soup. She held up a Hy-Vee bag. I didn't know if you had crackers. We do now, I said. Come in. We sat at the table under the wrapped sunflowers. She stared at the plastic, touching the corner with a finger. When are you going to hang it? When my scar stops feeling like a zipper. I slid the printed copy of the real will across the wood. Your father and I signed this with Mr. Lund, remember. The coffee rings he let happen on his desk. It names me, then you. It names the church. It names Tommy's boat. She read lips moving a little the way she did at age 8. Jason says this is complicated. He says a new will would simplify probate. Simple doesn't mean cruel, I said. It doesn't mean walk into my house with a stranger while I'm under and sign my name for me. She flinched. He said you called and left a voicemail. I shook my head. He'll have to prove that voicemail came from me, not from a computer with my voice downloaded from birthday videos. She held the paper between careful hands. Her wedding ring winked in the winter light. He's under a lot of stress, she said so quiet I almost didn't hear it. His car loan, and the credit cards. He made some crypto bets he can't cover. Stress is not a virtue, I said. It's just loud. She nodded like she'd been waiting for privilege to feel like a plan. If I find anything, papers, receipts, you want me to bring them? Yes, I said. Careful, though. Don't start a war in your kitchen. When she left, she hugged me quick and hard like she used to after a volleyball loss. I watched her walk to her car, shoulders pitched forward against a wind I couldn't feel from inside. The porch light caught her profile and made me want to hold up a sign, Pick Good Sarah. You know what good is? 10 minutes later, my phone dinged with an email from an address I didn't recognize, Open House, Ahmad City, realty.com. Friendly reminder, open house scheduled Saturday 1 to 4 p.m. Please ensure property is staged. Seller Mercer. There was a PDF flyer attached with my living room looking both familiar and too tidy. The sunflowers were on the wall in that picture, glowing like a confession. I forwarded it to Anita with the subject line, Saturday. And look at the wall art. Then I printed it on my ancient inkjet until the paper came out pinkish and damp. Paula came back from the pharmacy and clucked at the flyer. I can stand on the sidewalk with a sign, Not for Sale, she said. I'll wear my church hat. They'll listen. We're not going to scare anyone, I said. We're going to warn them, nicely. The doorbell rang again. A delivery guy in a neon vest handed me a padded envelope, no return address. Inside was a simple black folio with a scratch on one corner. A post-it on top read in Sarah's careful print, found in Jason's trunk. I'm sorry. I sat down before I opened it. Inside were printed templates, simple will, durable, power of attorney, last will and testament, all with places to fill in names. There were 3 pages of my name written over and over in different pens. On the back, a screenshot of a Venmo payment, $300 to Kyle B. Mobile Notary, sat with a pen and paper emoji the way young people decorate bills. I took photos of each page and sent them to Anita, my hands steadier than they should have been. She called immediately. Maggie, this is good, she said. This is very good. We'll attach it to the motion to strike. I'm also contacting a handwriting expert, retired Madison PD names Liam Brostek. He'll compare your DMV signature with the one on the fake will. I can go to his office, I said, and then felt my body laugh at me. Or he can come here. He'll come to you, Anita said, and I'm putting the title company on notice now. Once they receive the dispute, they can't insure the sale. No insurance, no closing. Also, I'm emailing the brokerage. That open house will turn into a very awkward tea party. We hung up. The house exhaled with me. I set the folio on the table and slid my finger under the scratch on the corner, the way you check a sore tooth. At dusk, Ben from the UPS store called back. I reached Kyle, he said. He confirmed an appointment at your address last Tuesday, logged at 2:30 p.m. The journal shows a driver's license number for the signer. That number will not match mine, I said. I can't release it to you directly, he said, but I'll cooperate with any lawful request. It's unusual to have someone call after the fact to confirm a notarization. Unusual, I said, rolling the word around like a lozenge. That's one way to say it. After dinner, chicken green beans. Paula watching me eat like a nurse. I stood in the doorway of the living room and looked at the wall with the plastic-wrapped sunflowers and the nail holes Rob never patched. The light in the room went soft and yellow. Somewhere in the neighborhood, a snowblower coughed to life. My phone buzzed one more time. An email from Lakeview Title. We have received notice of a dispute regarding the property at my address. We will suspend all closing activities pending resolution. Please direct inquiries to counsel. Anita must have reached them. I added one more line to my checklist, title company closing suspended. Then I wrote across the bottom of the page in large letters that didn't shake 72 hours. Stay awake. Keep receipts. When I turned off the lamp, the living room fell into shadow except for the small reflected square of the porch light on the plastic wrap. It made the sunflowers look like they were underwater, bright and patient. Tomorrow, I told the room, we turn on more lights. Morning brought a bright sky that didn't match my mood. Paula cracked the blinds like she was opening a courtroom. Sun helps, she said. Even liars squint. An email from Jason's lawyer sat in my inbox with a subject line that sounded polite and oily supplemental materials for court's consideration. I forwarded it to Anita before I clicked. Then I clicked anyway. Inside the folder were 3 things: a PDF of an updated will with my shaky name on it, 2 glossy photos of me in my own living room with a blanket on my lap pen in hand, and an audio file labeled M. Ellis Authorization 3, 12 p.m. I put the audio on speaker and let it play. My voice, my exact vowels, the little breath I take before hard words said, yes, I want Jason to handle everything. It's simpler. Go ahead. I stood in my kitchen holding the phone like it weighed 10 pounds. Paula leaned in. That you? It's my mouth, I said, not my tongue. I called Anita. They sent a voicemail that sounds like me. Good, she said, as calm as weather. We'll need your phone records from Verizon. We'll compare the timestamp on your carrier's log to the metadata in that file. If it's a spoofed call, VoIP jumping numbers, the logs won't match. Judges don't care for magic tricks. And the pictures, I said. He sent staged pictures of me signing. Then we stage our own truth, she said. Take a photo right now of that painting still wrapped in plastic. Today's paper in the shot, please. Paula fetched the Wisconsin State Journal and held it like a clapboard while I snapped the corner of the sunflower wrap, the date big and black in the frame. I texted Anita all 3 photos, the wrapped painting, the ring still with Jason's notary friend, and the glossy staged shot where my wall art was already hung like a sitcom set. Too neat. Too soon. At 10, Liam Brostek, the handwriting man, knocked. Retired Madison PD, gray hair, cheap pen, gentle eyes. He set a folder and a magnifier on my dining table where I'd paid bills for 30 years. Ms. Ellis, I'll be quick, he said. You've had enough poking this month. He laid out 6 samples of my signature from the DMV, a mortgage refinance, and a school volunteer badge form. Then he slid the updated will under the glass. You're right-handed, yes, he asked. Yes. He traced the M in Maggie with a capped pen. Your normal hand starts firm here, then eases. On this one, the start is timid, then the pressure surges halfway through and lifts twice before Ellis. See those micro wobbles? He showed me tiny tremors like someone walking across a creaky floor. That's hesitation, someone drawing your name instead of writing it. Also, the baseline drifts uphill, which is common in slow forgeries. So it's not mine. In my opinion, he said, it's not yours. I'll sign an affidavit. He packed his magnifier and patted the table like it was a dog. You're doing fine, he said. Keep your receipts. After he left, I called St. Raphael's to check on the pantry bequest. Father Miguel answered with the tired kindness of a man who has learned everyone's secrets by handing them canned peaches. "Father, I said you may hear something about our pledge." "We already did," he said. "A gentleman called to clarify that funds would be paused." "Pause away," I said, temporarily. He cleared his throat. "We'll pray for justice." "Pray for paperwork," I said. "Justice is allergic to gaps in the filing." By lunch, Anita had turned our morning into paper. She emailed a draft motion to strike the new will with exhibits listed like ingredients, EHR log request, visitor log request, ring still at 2:14 p.m., photo of the wrapped painting with that day's paper, Liam's forthcoming affidavit, Ben at UPS confirming a mobile notarization at 2:30, the title company's email suspending closing, Mrs. Whitaker's note about a rushed wire. And now, Anita said on the phone, we ask for a temporary order to keep anyone from selling or moving anything until the hearing. Think of it like hitting the pause button with a hammer. When's the hearing? Probate calendars move like molasses, she said. But we'll get on Friday morning if I bark loud enough. Judges don't like holiday weekend hijinks with real estate. Friday's 2 days, I said, looking at my 72 hours note. We can hold for 2 days. Stay reachable, she said. And one more thing, I want you to meet Sarah in public someplace with chairs and time. She's a witness whether she knows it or not. Hear her out without scaring her. People tell you more when they don't feel like the police are taking notes. We chose Memorial Union Terrace because Sarah loves those orange chairs, and the lake always makes people tell the truth. The sky over Lake Mendota did that gray-blue thing Wisconsin does in December, and gulls hopped around like they owned the place. I walked slow every step, reminding me the world still had gravity. Sarah waved from a table near the railing. She had 2 coffees, both milked down the way I drink it, and a bakery bag with a frosting smear on the side. You look better, she said. I look stubborn, I said, easing into the chair. It reads as better. She pushed a cup toward me. I listened to the voicemail file, she said, without throat clearing. It sounds like you, Mom, like you on birthdays. Because they took me from birthdays, I said. That's how computers learn you. She looked at the lake like the answer was out there somewhere on the ice. Jason said Dad wanted him to handle things because I'm not great with money. Your father thought chivalry meant making sure the pantry had soup in January, I said. He wanted me in this house and you with a future, not you standing in our yard telling strangers where the bathroom is at an open house. She cracked a smile that hurt. I brought you something, she said, lowering her voice. It's not a smoking gun, maybe a smoking cap gun. She slid a printout across the table, a Facebook Marketplace listing for Rob's fishing boat posted from Jason's account. Price firm. Great condition. Meet only at public dock. I blew on my coffee. He's selling your father's Saturdays, I said. There's more, she said, and showed me a screen cap of a text thread where Jason sent a link to St. Raphael's with a note, put a pin in this until title closes. We can revisit charitable stuff later. Charity later, I said. That's one way to spell never. We didn't say anything for a while. A kid on a scooter rattled past us, the clack-clack of his wheels running on uneven planks. Somewhere behind us, a student laughed too loud. Life went on like it didn't know my life was in court. I'm scared, Sarah said finally. If I help you, he'll say I betrayed him. If I don't, I betrayed you. You're not a rope, I said. 2 people don't get to pull you to see who owns you. You belong to yourself. She wiped her nose with her sleeve like she was 14 again. I gave you that folio because I know what good is. I haven't been picking it, but I know it. I know you do, I said. Pick it today. Back home, Verizon's email landed call detail records for last Tuesday. Inbound at 12:07 from Sarah Mist. Outbound at 2:51 to Paula 6 minutes. No calls at 3:12. No voicemail initiated by me at all. I forwarded it to Anita with a short note, no 3:12 call. She replied in 3 minutes. Perfect. We'll move to exclude the audio as unreliable and show it's not tied to your number. By late afternoon, Lakeview Title sent a second email confirming they'd notified the buyer's agent that the property had a dispute and could not be insured. 10 minutes later, the buyer himself, the cash man, accidentally CC'd me on an irritated note to his realtor and Jason. I'm not walking into a lawsuit for a deal. I'm out if this isn't clear by Friday. I printed that too. Pink and damp, it still read like justice warming up. Jason couldn't help himself. At 7, a text pinged from his number. You've made this ugly. The judge will see you're confused. Think of Sarah. I stared at it long enough to feel my blood pressure do a small, slow dance. Then I typed back, I am thinking of Sarah and Rob. See you Friday. I put my phone face down and let the house settle. The fridge thunked. The furnace kicked on. The scar tugged. In the quiet, a thought came as practical as a grocery list. Make a simple recording for the judge. Not drama, just time and place. I sat on the couch under Rob's Packers blanket and hit record. My name is Margaret Ellis. On Tuesday at 2:14 p.m., my Ring camera shows my son-in-law entering my house with a notary. At that time, my hospital records say I was in PACU at UW Health. I did not call anyone to authorize changes. I did not sign anything. I was alive and someone tried to erase me anyway. I listened to it once and saved it. No music would make that better. At 9, Anita called with her end-of-day voice flat but carrying. We're on the calendar for Friday 9 a.m., Judge Connolly. I'm bringing a projector and a sense of humor. One more thing, Maggie, sleep. I'll sleep Friday afternoon, I said. Sleep now, she said. Greed runs hot, we run steady. After I brushed my teeth, I stood in the living room and looked at the plastic over the sunflowers one more time, the porch light making a square on it. It looked like water. It looked like waiting. On my legal pad under Keep Receipts, I added 2 more lines. Voicemail excluded by records. Boat listing and church text saved. Then, because the terrace's chairs and the gulls and my daughter's face were still in my eyes, I wrote one more big as a billboard. Friday, public, lights on. Thursday started with the kind of gray sky that makes Wisconsin coffee taste like duty. I moved slow, holding my belly like a package marked fragile, and set the kettle on. Paula arrived the way she always does, already talking. I brought church cookies and printer paper, she said, kicking the door shut with her heel. Your lawyer will eat paper today. She was right, Anita called at 8:10. Good morning, Maggie, we're stacking pancakes. What kind? Exhibits. EHR timeline ring. Stills the painting photo with yesterday's paper, Liam's affidavit on the signature, Ben's notary confirmation Verizon logs, title company hold buyer's nastygram, the boat listing and that Venmo to Kyle B. Mobile Notary, sat with the cute little pen emoji. I could hear a laser printer whirring near her mouth. I'm also filing a short declaration from you. Plain words, plain truth. Plain is what I have. I'll swing by at noon for signatures. We'll serve opposing counsel and the court by 2. That gives us time to deal with any last-minute theater. Jason likes theater. That's fine, she said. Connolly likes calendars. After oatmeal and 2 pills, I opened my email. UW Health had sent the audit trail times like fence posts, anesthesia start, PACU arrival, nurse scans, pulse ox checks. At 2:10 p.m., a nurse scanned my wristband. At 2:14 p.m., a respiratory therapist changed my oxygen level. At 2:30 p.m., a PACU note logged me drowsy, responsive to name. I printed the sheet until the ink smelled like a chemistry set. Paula slid the pages into a dollar store binder with those plastic tabs that never quite line up. Look at us, she said. CSI Cottage Grove. At 10:00, Mrs. Whitaker from Monona Bank called. Ms. Ellis, I wanted you to know I filed a formal incident report to document Mr. Mercer's request for wire authorization under the purported updated will. If the court needs me, I'm off Friday and can attend. You'd sit in that cold room for me. I sit in a cold room every day, she said. Ours just has a vault. I added bank teller Friday to my list. The phone rang again. New number. This is Mark from Mad City Realty, a man said with a salesman's soft edges. We've received a notice of dispute on my address. Can we resolve this quickly? The seller's hoping to keep Saturday's open house on. This house is not open, I said. It's closed. It's grieving. He cleared his throat. Will postpone the event pending clarity? Clarity is Friday at 9, I said. courtroom 2A. He didn't write that down. At 11:30, Ben from the UPS store called back. Maggie the notary. Kyle says he'll cooperate with any lawful request. He sounded nervous. Nervous enough to tell the truth. Hard to say, Ben answered, but he used the word misled. That's a start. Thank you, Ben. I meant it. Anita arrived at noon with a stack of paper the size of a Sunday paper and a sandwich from Culver's Butterburger No Onions because she listens. We cleared the dining table and made little paper neighborhoods, court opposing title us. She handed me my declaration. I read it out loud so the words could settle in the house. I, Margaret Ellis, state that on date, I was under anesthesia and then in PACU at UW Health. I did not sign any will or authorize changes by phone. The photos submitted by the other side show a painting on my wall that was still wrapped in plastic as of date, as confirmed by an attached photograph holding that day's newspaper. Simple, Anita said. Judges like simple when the other side is busy. She slid Liam's affidavit toward me, paragraphs about hesitation marks, pen lifts, baseline drift, signed with a policeman's patience. Next, the Verizon log. Next, the title email with the word suspend in a font big enough to have feelings. Opposing counsel filed a breathless brief last night, Anita said, taking a bite of my fries as if they were community property. Lots of words like misunderstanding and streamlining. He says grief makes decades look like weeks. Grief doesn't make a nurse scan my wristband at 2:10, I said. Anita smiled with her eyes only. If this is simple, I'm the Queen of England. Paula made a satisfied noise from the kitchen. Long live the Queen. After we signed everything, I grabbed my coat. One stop, I said. St. Raphael's. Anita checked her watch. I can drop the filings, then meet you there, she said. Get a little moral high ground with your canned goods. We drove separately. The church hall smelled like old coffee and floor wax. Volunteers were sorting boxes, peanut butter, condensed milk, corn. Father Miguel stood at a card table, sleeves rolled a tape gun in his hand. Father, I said, and he pulled me into the kind of hug you give a person you've buried a spouse with. I hear there is trouble, he said. Just paperwork, I said. Paperwork with teeth. He looked at me for a long second. Greed narrows the world, he said, tapping the box. Love keeps doors open. Then I better get the front door of my house back, I said. Anita slipped in cheeks pink from the cold. We stayed 15 minutes, long enough to stack a few cases of green beans and to remember the world has more than one kind of hunger. When we left, my hands smelled like cardboard and hope. Back home, the brokerage emailed open house canceled. Then another from Lakeview title buyer withdraws. File dormant pending court outcome. I printed both and clipped them behind the first title letter so they didn't feel lonely. At 3, my phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. He's in a mood. I'm going to my friend Amy's tonight so he can cool off. Do you want me in court? I stared at that question until it felt like it had been waiting on my porch for days. Yes, I typed. But only if you come as yourself, not as anyone's shield. After supper, Paula insisted on reheated Butterburger halves, like it was a sacrament. I laid out my court clothes on the bed, black pants that forgive a blue sweater that makes my eyes less tired, my mother's small cross on a thin chain, practical shoes, the coat Rob called my good coat. I added a tote bag with my binder, a pen that clicks, and a little bag of almonds tricks I learned in school offices. The doorbell rang at 6:30. I opened it to find Mrs. Whitaker in a proper winter hat, hands tucked into her sleeves. I wanted to put a face to a voice, she said, and give you something. She handed me a typed statement on bank letterhead dates times her recollection of Jason calling me Mom while he pushed for wires. I don't know if it will be used, but it's accurate. She glanced at my living room, taking in the plastic-wrapped painting, the old couch, the way grief hangs from a lamp. See you in the morning. After she left, the house felt full in a different way, not crowded, held. At 7, opposing counsel finally called. Ms. Ellis James Cook for Mr. Mercer. He said, smooth as an escalator. We're considering a continuance to allow time for the parties to clarify misunderstandings. Would you be open to that? No, I said. Friday is fine. A delay would be... Friday is fine, I said again. I don't have misunderstandings. I have a scar and a binder. He was quiet a second longer than pride likes. See you tomorrow then. Bring your calendar, I said, and hung up before my heart could climb into my throat. I made a thermos of tea for morning and set it by the door. Paula insisted on sleeping on my couch so nobody sneaks papers into your windows at night. I let her because you don't argue with a woman who brings printer paper and cookies. Around 9, my email pinged with one last file, notary journal excerpt, entry 147. Anita must have pulled a string. The driver's license number didn't match mine. The signature under Senior looked like my name trying on a Halloween mask. The line for signatory's personal appearance verified had a sloppy check in the yes box, and the note Senior appeared fatigued, assisted by family. I breathed out through my nose until the hot part of angry cooled a little. Paula peered over my shoulder. You know what I see? She asked. What? A lie that can spell, she said. We printed it anyway and added it to the stack. Before bed, I called Sarah. She answered on the third ring, voice hushed like a library. I'm at Amy's. He's pacing at home. You safe? Yes. Tomorrow when the lawyer says something that sounds true but isn't, you look at me. I will. And Sarah, I waited. You know what good is? She sniffed a laugh. I do. I slept more than I thought I would. Morning would be heavy enough. Sleep is not treachery. In the dark at 5:30 a.m., I woke to the sound of Paula's soft snore and the furnace doing its winter job. I made toast, buttered it to the corners, and put on the clothes I'd chosen, armor made of cotton and memory. I slid the binder into the tote like a baton you don't drop in the third leg. We stood on the porch while the car warmed our breath, making little ghosts. The plastic over the sunflowers caught the porch light and made the petals shine like coins at the bottom of a fountain. Ready? Paula asked. Ready, I said. We drove down Cottage Grove Road toward the courthouse while the sky thought about being morning. I felt old and completely alive. Greed runs hot. We run steady. I repeated it in my head until the words sat down quietly and let me steer. We parked in the ramp off Doty and walked the block to the Dane County Courthouse with our breath-making little clouds. Courtroom 2A smelled like old carpet and coffee. A Badger's paperweight sat on the judge's bench as if to say, let's not waste the morning. The gallery filled with ordinary life neighbors, 2 women from St. Raphael's, a kid in a hoodie who'd wandered in for civics, Mrs. Whitaker in her winter hat, and Sarah eyes rimmed red but steady. Jason came in with his lawyer, hair perfect, jaw set, hands empty. Judge Connolly took the bench at 9 sharp. Good morning. In re-estate of Robert Ellis. I have both sides' papers. Ms. Delgado. Anita stood like it was just another Thursday and rolled her projector cart to the front. Good morning, Your Honor. We're asking to strike an alleged updated will as a forgery and to reaffirm the decedent's 2023 will. We'll walk through the exhibits quickly. She clicked and the screen lit with the EHR audit trail. This is UW Health's record for Tuesday the 12th, she said. At 2:10 p.m., a nurse scanned Ms. Ellis's wristband in PACU. At 2:14, a respiratory therapist adjusted oxygen. At 2:30, she was logged drowsy, responsive to name. She was not at home. Someone in the gallery whispered, "That's the hospital one." Next slide, the Ring camera still of my front door at 2:14 p.m., with Jason ushering the notary inside. Mr. Mercer arrives at the home at the same minute Ms. Ellis is documented in PACU, Anita said. We're not asking the court to believe magic. She clicked again my dining room wall with the sunflowers still wrapped in plastic, today's Wisconsin State Journal in the frame. Then the staged photo from the other side's packet, me in a blanket pen in hand, sunflowers neatly hung. The photo is inconsistent with the condition of the wall as of the following day. It's a small thing. So is a forged signature until you put it under glass. She laid Liam Brostek's affidavit on the document camera. Hesitation marks, pen lifts, baseline drift. Mr. Brostek retired. Madison PD concludes the signature is not Ms. Ellis's. Opposing counsel stood for the first time. Your Honor, grief creates inconsistencies. The family was doing its best. Grief doesn't change hospital clocks. Judge Connolly said, eyes on the screen. Anita kept stacking pancakes. Next Verizon call detail records. There's an audio file in the defense packet, purportedly Ms. Ellis, authorizing simplification at 3:12 p.m. The carrier shows no call from Ms. Ellis's phone at 3:12. Metadata suggests a VoIP source. We move to exclude. Excluded, the judge said without looking up. Anita slid in the UPS Notary Journal excerpt. Notary entry 147. Driver's license number for the signer does not match Ms. Ellis's. The line, signer appeared fatigued, assisted by family, is colorful. We'll call the notary. A young man in a new blazer stood from the back like a kid called on in class. Kyle kept his hands clasped so tight I could see the whites of his knuckles. Anita swore him in. Mr. B, she said, using his last initial, did you personally verify Ms. Ellis's identity? He swallowed. A man, Mr. Mercer, handled the ID. He said she was weak. I took the number he read off. Did you see Ms. Ellis sign? I saw someone sign her name, he said, voice so soft the microphone had to lean forward. She was under a blanket, slumped. I didn't ask questions I should have. Did you receive payment? He nodded. Venmo. Mobile notary, sat with a pen emoji. Anita put the screenshot on the screen. The little pen and paper emoji looked sillier under fluorescent lights. Jason stared at it like it had spoken out of turn. Opposing counsel tried vague mercy. Your Honor, this was confusion in a sad house. Confusion doesn't write practice signatures in 3 pens, Anita said, sliding the folio Sarah found onto the camera templates. Sheets of my name, the Venmo print. And confusion doesn't schedule an open house for Saturday and push a bank for wire authority within hours. She pointed to Mrs. Whitaker, who lifted her hand like a student. I filed a bank incident report, she said. He kept calling her mom like it could make policy bend. Anita finished with the title letters, and the buyer's annoyed email sale suspended. Buyer walking. No insurance, no closing. Judge Connolly steepled his fingers. Mr. Cook. Opposing counsel adjusted his tie. Your Honor, my client acted under the understanding that his mother-in-law wanted a streamlined process. The judge cut him off with a palm. She cannot be in PACU and in her living room signing a will at the same time. Pick one world. Silence fell the way it does right before weather changes. Anita looked at me. I stood. My legs felt like they belonged to a person who had walked farther than this, which is true. Ms. Ellis, the judge said, his voice different with my name in it. I won't belabor what's on the screen, I said. You can see it. I was alive. Someone filed paper to erase me anyway. But I want to say one plain thing in case we get fancy later. Last spring, after Rob's first scare, we set up transfer on death on the house and payable on death on our savings. Simple forms, straight lines. Even if this bad paper had slid through, the big things were never his to take. A low ripple ran through the room. Chairs creaked. Someone let out a breath they'd been hoarding. Jason blinked the way people blink when math changes. Anita handed me 2 thin documents. Recorded with the Register of Deeds in April, she said for the record, bank pod on file since May. Opposing counsel tried one more balloon. Your Honor, these additional designations are exactly what people are supposed to do, the judge said. He looked over his glasses at Jason. Mr. Mercer, when people die, families do hard, honest tasks. They do not counterfeit signatures, hire sloppy assistants, and call it mercy. He turned to the clerk. Order the alleged 2025 will is void. The 2023 will is reaffirmed. The estate remains frozen except for ordinary expenses until distribution under the 2023 will. Refer this matter to the district attorney for review of fraud and any notary misconduct. Mr. Mercer is enjoined from entering Ms. Ellis's residence without her permission or contacting financial institutions regarding the estate. Any items listed for sailboats otherwise are to be taken down today. Restitution for any proceeds touched will be addressed at a sanctions hearing 2 weeks hence. The gavel didn't bang. It didn't need to. The room changed temperature. Kyle the notary sank into a seat like his body had been holding him up out of habit. Mrs. Whitaker gave me a tiny fist in the air. Sarah cried the quiet way, no noise, just water and air. Paula squeezed my hand until my bones felt seen. Outside in the hallway, Jason stared anywhere but at me. His lawyer spoke to him in a low, hard voice people use when the check already bounced. Sarah stood between us like neutral ground and then stepped toward me. "Mom," she said, and the words sounded like it used to. "I'm sorry. I should have believed what I already knew." I held her face in my hands the way you do when speeches are too big. "Knowing and picking are different chores," I said. "Pick good. Today counts." She nodded, messy and real. "Amy's going to drive me to get my things. I'll sleep at my friend's for a while." "I'll be at home," I said. "With locks that work." We walked out into the kind of winter sun that flatters no one and forgives everyone. Paula insisted on lunch because justice makes you hungry. We slid into a booth at Monty's Blue Plate Diner, grilled cheese, tomato soup, a slice of lemon pie, like church ladies make when they mean it. The radio played something from 20 years ago. A kid at the counter did homework. Ordinary life took up its shift. Sarah reached across the table and touched my hand. "What's next?" she asked. "Paperwork," I said, "and a nap, and counseling on Park Street when you're ready." She smiled and wiped her eyes with a napkin that left a little lint. "I'm ready." We took the long way home past St. Raphael's. I dropped off an envelope with a note for Father Miguel. The bequest stands. Thank you for the boxes and the prayer. It felt right to put good back where good lives. At the house, I stood in the living room and finally peeled the plastic off the sunflowers. The tape made a sound like a zipper letting go. I hung the painting straight over the old nail holes and stepped back. The room looked like itself again. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with my yellow pad and wrote the last line on the list I'd started in pain and kept in anger. Keys back in hand. I laid the keys on the wood so they made a small, clean sound. For the folks listening who love someone more than they love paperwork, here's what I'll tell you in plain speech. Write it down. Tell your people. Set your TOD and POD if it fits. Don't wait for kindness to guess correctly. Greed is loud for a season. Family is quiet and lasting. Teach that while you can. On the way to bed, I paused by the door, the porch light throwing a little square on the floor like it always does. Jason thought I was too weak to stand. Turns out, standing at my age is choosing where to plant your feet and then keeping your receipts until the truth catches up.